Good evening. I'd like to call to order the September 23rd Committee of the Whole meeting to order. Clerk Boak, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Spatafor?
Present.
Councilmember Hussein?
Present.
Councilmember Carter?
Here.
Councilmember Pelivanoglu?
Present.
Councilmember Brown?
Present.
Councilmember Cost?
Here.
Councilmember Garza?
Here.
Councilmember Jackson?
Present.
8 members present.
All right, that takes us to the minutes of the September 9th meeting. Vice President Hussein.
I would move the meeting minutes from September 9th as presented.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. All right, we are to the point, the agenda for the public comment on agenda items. If anybody from the public would like to come up and speak, you will have 3 minutes, and please state your name for the record.
Okay, Loretta Stanaway, and we're approaching what hunters call the deer season. We are well here into the yeah but season. We are into the yeah but season because we are hearing that yeah but we need $8 million more for the Performing Arts Center to make it the world-class thing it could be, because the $20 million wasn't enough. It wasn't cool enough, fancy enough, viable enough, so we have to stretch and come up with another $8 million. And yeah, but the public safety facility is well underway, sort of, maybe, kind of. Yeah, but we need more property, so we're gonna take $300,000 from a city agency and pay it by another city agency. We own the property. It's owned by the city of Lansing, but the city of Lansing is gonna pay $300,000 to acquire it. Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense, does it? We're into the over and under season as well. How many projects, since any of you have been involved in city politics, let alone on council, have come in under budget? Can you name one single project that wasn't over budget? And I obviously don't know what I'm talking about because I have no track record, do I? Except for the fact that it was my concept to create the Fratcher Memorial Garden in Mount Hope Cemetery, which brings in income to the city, created a whole new revenue stream, and reduced the city's subsidy for the cemeteries. Brokered a deal for the Section G and Evergreen Cemetery to get opened to, again, increase the revenue stream for the city. Staffed the volunteer courtesy office across the road from the cemeteries, freeing up the city from having to pay payroll and benefits for employees that they no longer wanted to support. So I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't have any track record. Thank you.
Any additional public comment?
Good evening, council members. My name is Ben Dodson. I'm currently the business agent for Ironworkers Local 25, residing on Executive Drive here in Lansing. I come before you tonight to inform you on an issue the ironworkers are having on the new safety complex. The results of the first bid package for structural steel has been awarded yet again to another contractor from the Grand Rapids area named FCC by the construction manager, Chrisman. I've also been informed that it came down to 2 contractors, Kirby Steel out of the Flint area and FCC. The big difference between the two is FCC employs employees from the Grand Rapids area, and Kirby Steel employs members from Ironworkers Local 25, most of which would be supplied from our union hall right here in Lansing, Michigan. We have several members that live in the city of Lansing and hundreds in Ingham and the surrounding counties. Our stance on this is local jobs for local families. We push our members to pass bonds for the funding for these projects just to turn around and see our tax dollars being taken back to Grand Rapids yet again, not even giving us a shot to work on the projects that are being paid for with our tax dollars. Ironically, all the Greater Lansing building trades were at the groundbreaking ceremony for the safety complex in October of last year, being told from the podium and Channel 6 the men and women that will be building this project are from the Greater Lansing local building trades. I guess that only lasts until the first big bid package is awarded. So when the cameras are rolling, it's all pro-Lansing workers until sadly the cameras get turned off. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not speak for the rest of the greater Lansing building trades, but I can tell you for sure, the iron workers are all done being lied to and treated like this. In closing, the only decision I have left on this project for what type of job action campaign I will be having on the new safety complex. Unfortunately, putting a negative spin on this great project in its beginning stages. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak here tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Do we have an additional public comment?
Carl Tilking, 1835 Fletcher Street, Lansing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the new director and program manager for One Day Industries. What we do is we're trying to get unhomed and homeless veterans off the street and into their own home. Hearing $8 million is over budget. I can only imagine what I can do with just $1 million. I can be able to put many veterans into their own tiny house. I've heard also that they're going to have auxiliary development units here in the area. That's going to be going Wednesday before the committee. I'm going to be at that committee meeting trying to see if we can get tiny houses pushed through for this city. And like I've said many times before in the past, is that a person who owns a tiny home is not going to allow their areas to be sloppy, dirty, allow contamination, because they're going to be involved in where they live. I've got someone looking for property for myself right now so I can be able to put a cooperative for these veterans to be able to be housed together. I'm hoping 50 veterans can be able to become viable citizens, pay their taxes, and put some revenue in these coffers. But I am concerned because of the over budget on the safety building. Because I could use those funds. I guarantee you, if I can be able to show people left and right that through my website that we're going to be working toward putting Lansing veterans that are homeless and unhomed into their own home. I have concerns, though, about how I'm going to be taxed because of that extra money being taken. Is it going to raise us another $1 million in bonds? Is it going to be able to come out of my taxes any faster, any slower? I don't know. I can tell you this much, that I've talked with many of my veterans that I help support. They're worried. They're concerned. This raise in tax amount is something that they're not certain if they want to support. And I said, well, what are you going to do? And they said, we may have to leave Lansing. I've been hearing that from a lot of families. We may have to leave Lansing for a number of reasons. So I'm concerned about what's going on here in the city. I've lived in this city 55 years. And I can tell you, as a long-term resident, I'm saddened by what state of the city is like right now. And many others who have been around as long as I are very saddened as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have any additional public comment? Okay, seeing no additional public comment, we don't have any online. We'll move down to the agenda to number 5, presentations. We have item B, project update on Public Media and Performing Arts Center, Ovation. Anybody that's in the audience that plan on speaking on this, please come up to the well.
Good to see everyone. Hi, council members.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for the invitation to present. It was well timed, as I'm sure most of you noticed. We made some announcements on Thursday. Some really encouraging milestones about the project. We are at work on the renovation of the existing building at the 520 South Washington address. The asbestos abatement is complete, and interior demolition is 95% complete. We actually expect to accelerate that component of the project and have the media center move into that facility sometime next year. which I think is going to be really great because that'll kind of get people used to heading over there and taking advantage of the services that the media center offers. We, of course, have a pretty great temporary location at the 318 North Capitol in the ramp. You're all welcome to come check it out. But it is definitely a temporary space that we had to make work in the meantime. So it'll be great to have a purpose design space for that. So Emily's going to talk to the financial questions that you all provided. I just wanted to run down. I did send over a PDF of the new renderings and floor plans. So if anybody has any questions about the floor plans or traffic flow or how that will work, the performance spaces and the entrances and the community spaces, happy to answer any questions on that. If maybe we could put those up on the screen, thank you very much. And then we also announced another thing that's kind of going to be active on the site. You know, we have a 2-year gap of time between right now and when we'll be open in fall of 2026. So we want to start generating excitement and momentum now. So I think having that media center being open as a phase 1 component next year, but also my favorite thing that we announced on Thursday was that you all remember the beautiful mural that we had on the side of the 2500 South Washington building at the old Lansing Public Media Center space. The mural that went up as a part of the Below the Stacks Festival in 2019. It was a daily inspiration for everybody who worked there, and it was, of course, we all know it made sense what the public safety complex, that building had to come down, but the day we lost that mural was a sad day. So we brought the same artist back to come do one on the south wall of the 520 building, and he's working on it right now as we speak. So that will be done at the end of the week. So it's kind of a great full circle story, the fact that we lost that beautiful piece of art on a community asset, to bring that same artist back to do one that's bigger and better is pretty exciting. And of course, probably tied for the favorite thing that we announced on Thursday, along with that was a gift from the DART Foundation, an investment that they're making in the amount of $1.25 million targeted to the sound and lighting system, is really going to be a game changer for us. So of course we had a number in the budget for sound and lighting, but it was a number where we were going to have to do a lot with a little. I think I've been in front of council many times talking about how we're trying to make every dollar stretch as far as we can. So that's going to take a lot of pressure off the budget. To have that truly, that amount that's dedicated to the sound and lighting will allow us to open with an amazing, memorable system. You've heard me tell you before, I think everyone's going to come give this thing a chance. They're going to come check it out. They're going to come see a show or two. It's our job to make it memorable and a great experience so that they come back and keep coming back. So I think you've been looking at the imagery. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions about the floor plan if any of those came up. And otherwise, I'm going to turn it over to Emily Linden for the financial questions.
Hey everyone, good to see you. So I'll just go over, I got some questions ahead of time, so I'll just go through them in order. So the first was about the funding status, so the project is still fully funded. And then breakdown of construction costs, so the total cost is $28 million. And from that, the $20 million City of Lansing bonds to be repaid by future PEG fees and brownfield reimbursements, as we've talked about. The Michigan Strategic Fund grant for $5 million, the State of Michigan appropriation for $2 million, which was spent on acquisition, the federal appropriation via HUD for $750,000, PEG fees on hand at roughly $2.55 million right now, and then naming rights and fundraising at roughly $2.585 and counting there. So, and then I also wanted to mention that it's baked into our internal budget to make sure we're doing community outreach during this time. So that'll kind of take form in various ways over the next 2 years. And if people have any ideas, we're all ears, but it'll definitely be sponsoring community events, being at neighborhood meetings, things like that. And then the next question was about money spent thus far. So basically all of the money that has been spent so far is pre-construction costs for the most part. There's been roughly $795,482 spent. The large majority of that is for architect, construction manager, and owner's rep. There are some smaller costs coming out of that for environmental consulting, the privacy screening that's been up, environmental testing, some temporary fencing, costs like that as well. Overall budget projection thus far. So projections are on budget. We have bi-weekly meetings with the entire architecture and CM firm to just look at all of those estimates extremely regularly. So if anything is looking off, we can address it pretty immediately and not let it get too far down the line. So that's definitely something we're hyper focused on. And then in terms of future spending projections, again, we are completely on budget. So I have it broken down here. The vast majority are construction costs and construction management costs, roughly $26.4 million. And then the other big ticket items are these pre-construction phases with building design, architecture, and engineering. That's roughly $1.46 million. And then again, there's some smaller costs for environmental consulting, privacy screening, environmental testing, temporary fencing, site survey, program manager, sound and lighting, which as Dom just mentioned, we have a very exciting targeted grant for, so that doesn't come out of the overall budget that we were talking about. And then programming, fundraising, marketing, and admin, that is all coming from the Lansing Public Media Center, the Lansing Public Media Authority, so the separate agency created by the city of Lansing to oversee this project. So none of that is being spent out of the bond money. That is strictly for construction costs. So I just wanted to point that out as well. So I think those were all of the finance class questions on the list. I know we're kind of pressed for time, but I'm happy to answer any further questions.
Okay, well, thank you both for being here tonight and addressing council. Do we have any questions, comments from council? No questions from council. I guess I have one question, just because it came out public today. Regarding the donation you received from DART, is there any clawbacks from them? I see that they just laid off 250 people, 160 of them locally.
So it was from the DART Foundation, so they have a very clear delineation.
Okay.
They have their certain budgeted amount per year that they.
Making sure that we're not
Yeah.
gonna end up with some disgruntled employees
Sure.
picketing the place.
Yeah.
Okay. See no further questions. I appreciate you guys being here and presenting tonight.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you.
All right, moving down the agenda. Next, we have item C, project update from the Public Safety Consolidated Facility. Any and all that's here, please come down to the well.
This on?
It's on. Thanks for being here. If you don't mind, introducing yourself so we know who all you are. I see a lot of familiar faces, but for those that don't know who you are.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. President and City Council members. My name is John McGraw from River Caddis Development. Today with me is Dan Wazinski from River Caddis Development. We have Rob Crow from Chrisman, and we have Marty Ryder from Hobson Black. So we have kind of a tight schedule tonight, or you guys do, so we're going to make sure that we run through this quick. We have some good news, and then hopefully open up the remainder of time for any questions that you guys may have. So jumping in, committee questions, the overall budget projection thus far, we are at budget. As to scheduling, we are on time of all those things that we mentioned. So good news, this is a complex project. We've got a lot of folks working on this, and the city's just been a dream to work with. The mayor's staff, departments, planning, building department. Very thankful for all that are involved. It really takes a village to bring something like this together. So we couldn't be happier with the team that we have here. Future spending projections, we've spent roughly $11.5 million. The remainder is to be spent as to that schedule that was submitted. We've provided a hard copy to Chief of Staff. Hopefully you guys have that to look at our schedule projections for our projects. We've also provided a quarterly update, usually provided in about October. We got that done a little bit early.
I believe we have the quarterly update, but I'm not sure if we have a schedule.
Well, I may have missed the deadline Thursday and got that on Friday, but I'll make sure that council gets that schedule. But just to reiterate, on schedule. Update on issues and obstacles. There's nothing worth mentioning in this is a very complex project. There's always issues in projects, but nothing worth going into detail. They've all been solved. We're working through everything diligently. As I said, I mean, it's a wonderful project for the city. Everybody's working hard, and the city has brought on a very spectacular team to help accomplish this. And those were the questions provided from council. So we have the whole team here, the whole project team. We're happy to answer any questions that you guys may have for the remainder of the time.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions from council? Councilman Cost.
Thank you, President Garza. So we had a gentleman come up from the Iron Union, Local 25. So I guess the question is, why did we select this company out of Grand Rapids and not our local iron workers?
Rob, would you like to take that?
Yep, I'd be happy to take it. It's a great question. Appreciate it. So again, I'm Rob Crow with the Chrisman Company. We are the construction management firm on the project. As council, I'm sure, is aware, we're obligated to comply with public bidding requirements. We conducted a public bidding process for that phase of the work, as we will with all phases of the work, and then we evaluate each of the bids that are submitted. And then in this particular instance, the awarded contractor was the lowest qualified. I'm familiar with all the bidding contractors that did, and I'm certainly sympathetic to the gentleman who spoke at public comment. But essentially, the FCC complied with the bidding requirements, met the specification, and met the requirement for prevailing wages to be included. And then the second bidder also met those, but was not low. So that, in a nutshell, is kind of how that process unfolds. Thank you.
So the difference between the two, would that fall within, I believe that we changed the ordinance here in the city, that local contractors or local bidders have preference up to, I think, $1 million in difference.
I wouldn't be able to speak specifically on it, but those two low bidders, neither were local. Both are from outside of the local environment. Their company headquarters, one is from the west side of the state, as he indicated, and the second bidder, Kirby Steel, is on the east side of the state, but not Lansing contractors.
They do employ people that live here in Lansing, the local unit.
They could.
My concern is we're just starting out in this project and we're already pulling in Grand Rapids, and that money goes to Grand Rapids. It's spent in Grand Rapids. It's never spent here. It's incredibly frustrating when we're building a public safety building to serve the people of Lansing, and we're not even using our own folks. So, should we expect more of this to come in the future, where we're going to be pulling people from Grand Rapids?
We could certainly expect that we will comply with all city ordinances and public bidding requirements.
That's not an answer. So, is the answer yes, that we will be seeing more from Grand Rapids, and that includes materials?
Councilman, I think you're asking me to speculate on something that hasn't happened yet, so.
Well, to be fair, this is our tax dollars, mine and everyone else in this room. My concern is that we're starting a project where we're going to start passing up local companies, and I understand there's a bid process, but I certainly hope that this doesn't end up just being another Grand Rapids project like everything else built here. Okay.
All right, thank you. And I guess I want to follow up with that. And I'm sorry, I know you're with Chrisman. What's your name again, sir?
Rob Crow.
Rob Crow. So, Rob, I know that since you work with Chrisman, you understand that, local unions, the contractor may not be, local per se, but anytime a union's involved, they have to hire out of their local office, which would be here in Lansing, Michigan. Now, what was the difference in the bid prices of the two?
I'd have to find that information and provide it to you all. I don't have that memorized.
Okay, do you know if it was within tens of thousands? Was it like over $1 million?
It was roughly in the $100,000 range.
Okay, could you please provide that when you have an opportunity
Absolutely.
to? Thank you. Do we have any additional comments from council? Okay, seeing no additional comment. I appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have no further items on the agenda. We are adjourned for another 5 minutes.